this lesson, we're going to talk about a couple exercises you can do to work on your chord fingering. Okay, the first one is, take the 4 chords we know. Let's take our A minor, start with that. Kind of arpeggiate that, make sure you're getting all the notes sound out. And then just practice playing a chord, stopping it, and picking your fingers up. Just barely off the strings, just a little bit. Just practice putting them down. That's going to build up the muscle memory in your fingers. Now when I'm picking my fingers up, I'm using my palm right here to mute the strings. So if I don't, it sounds like that, which is not good. So as I'm picking my fingers up, I'm muting the strings back here by the bridge with my palm. Just practice that over and over, just kind of picking your fingers up, and putting them back down, the same chord. Now don't pick them up and pull your fingers way out here. Keep them in close. Okay, now let's go to C. Same thing, just picking them up, putting them back down. Remember to stop the strings with your palm. Okay, our G. And our E minor. Okay, now let's work on moving combinations. So let's go, we're going to go G to E minor to C to A minor. So we're going to do one of each. Take it nice and slow. Okay, now let's work on a different combination. Let's go G to C, A minor to E minor. Big jump from G to C. Try to remember to make that chord shape kind of as you're sliding across the strings in the air. Okay, so those are a couple of little exercises you can practice to just get your fingers kind of memorizing where they need to be to make those chords. Now, one other thing, you're probably noticing that the C chord is pretty tough to get your fingering on because you're stretching between these 3 fingers. So what you can do, and a little exercise you can do to kind of build up to that if you're having problems getting to that chord, if you go all the way up here to the 8th fret, so our first finger, keep the fingering exactly the same. Just kind of slide it up till your 3rd finger is on the 10th fret and your 1st finger is on the 8th fret. Okay, it's not really a C anymore, but the shape is the same. So we're just working on stretching these fingers out. So you have your 3rd finger on the 10th fret A string, your 2nd finger on the 9th fret D string, and your 1st finger on the 8th fret B string. Should sound like that. Okay, so the reason I'm bringing you up here is because now you can make that same shape with your fingers. If you've noticed, as you come up the neck of the guitar, the frets get closer together. So it's a little easier. That's a little easier stretch here. Past that, it gets where your fingers are kind of almost cramped together. So this is a good place to start. So just see if you can get that. If it's a little easier stretch for you there, just kind of strum that and then slowly work your way back, and the stretch gets a little bit farther and farther apart. So Then you move this back 1 fret. Again, these aren't chords. This is just really an exercise. If you can get all those strings to sound out, though, that means you're doing good. Make sure you're staying on your fingertips, that your fingers are arched. So then you move back 1 fret, and your fingers start to spread out a little bit more. Just keep on moving back. You might have to do this over the course of a couple days to get used to it. Now my fingers are getting pretty far apart, and then finally we're back to our C chord. That might be something you can do to help get your fingers used to that stretch. Just kind of gradually work your way back. If you get stuck, don't, if say you get to about right here where your 3rd finger is on the 7th fret and you can't do it, just keep practicing that. Don't try to rush and force yourself into being kind of sloppy. And eventually, if you practice, you'll get to that C and you'll be able to do that stretch. So work on that exercise for your C chord.